Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Canada's Movie and TV Hosers. I'm your host, Gregory Barrett, and with me is my lovely wife, Christine. So thank you for tuning in this week. Try to improve the video for this episode.
You look like Mr. Burns glowing in the woods last week.
Hopefully I'm not so bright on screen right now, and Christine still looks good. Yes. Okay, we got Deadpool and Spider-Man joining us here today.
And hopefully my sweater's on the right way. I had it on backwards last week or inside out at work. It looks the same.
Okay.
Hopefully it looks alright.
So what would you like to start off with today?
Well, let's start with the news.
Okay. Did you want to break some news, or you want me to just jump into it?
No, you jump in. I don't have a
Okay, so last weekend was the first weekend for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Right.
And it opened up to 180 million domestic and 330 million worldwide. That comes to us from Geek Vibes Nation.
That sounds like a promising...
That's really good. It's not in the top 5 openings.
No.
I think it is in the top 10, though.
Oh.
Okay, 180 million opening in North America. That's pretty amazing.
Well, it's still going to run through the Christmas season, too, so that's a good thing.
I don't think that's as much as the first Black Panther was, though.
Oh.
I think that was 200 million.
I don't think people are going to the movies as much. That's my scientific research comment on that. It just doesn't seem like they are.
Well, with inflation the way it is, and the holidays coming up,
and people's patterns are not the same.
Yeah, you don't have as much spending money because you gotta, spend money on gifts and get ready for the winter.
Some people don't want to be in a crowded theater either.
True.
Exactly.
Okay, next piece of news. First reactions are out for the movie Babylon, which people were saying was going to be an Oscar contender.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that one.
That's we saw Amsterdam.
Yeah.
With
I liked
Margot Robbie and Christian Bale and George David Washington.
I liked that movie. You didn't like it.
No, I didn't. And audiences didn't care for it either, and I don't think critics did either.
This audience member liked it.
So people have been looking forward to this new Babylon movie. Well, the first reviews are out, and they're mixed.
Oh.
Some people are saying it's the greatest thing ever. Others are saying this is complete garbage.
We go to it, probably, I'll like it, you'll hate it.
So, when you get mixed reviews for something that's supposed to be coming out for award season, it means it's probably not going to be winning awards if people are so mixed on it.
Well, if we get time, we can go see it if it's here.
Okay. There's a new CBS show for True Lies. Remember that movie from the 90s?
Is that with Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, it's not going to have them in it, I don't think. But yeah, this new CBS show is going to premiere in February of 2023.
I haven't seen it.
That comes to us from the John Campea show.
Okay.
Were you a big fan of that movie?
I obviously saw it because I remember who was in it, but I really don't remember. It was too long ago.
I remember it was pretty good. It's a James Cameron movie, and he always makes really good movies.
Yeah, I do remember it, so I guess I must have liked it because I recall who was in it.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I saw it when it came out.
It was like 95 or something?
Yeah, probably.
Possibly there.
I probably saw it in my university days. Anyway, no, I haven't heard of that series yet. Mostly they just...
94.
Okay.
And Tom Arnold was in it as well. Has a 70% critic rating and a 76% audience score.
I do remember, I went to see it.
If that's coming out that'll be coming out on CBS in February, so we'll probably get it somewhere. I'll check it out.
I will PVR it then for you.
It should be on something. Okay, John Aniston, who is the father of Jennifer Aniston.
I was thinking that.
He passed away this week at 89.
Oh.
He starred as Victor Kiriakis in almost 3,000 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Oh, Victor!
You know who that is?
Yes. My roommates at university loved that show. That was pretty... I know, it's not I know who Victor is. I did not realize that was her father.
Yeah.
Oh.
Almost 3,000 episodes. Yeah. This guy won a bunch of awards for this.
Yeah, he's
Okay, he was in a bunch of other things too.
There. Okay.
I don't know who this is, but
I didn't know that was her father.
Okay. You were talking to me about this, so I looked this up. Jay Leno was hospitalized this past Sunday from a gasoline fire in his garage.
One of his nice cars.
One car burst into flames and he suffered burns on his face.
Right.
That comes to us from CBC.
He has a big car collection, I know that. He's big into the cars.
And he's got that car show.
Oh.
Where they auction off really high value and famous cars.
Oh, I've never seen it. I just know he's really into cars. Unfortunately, he got injured. But it sounds like he's doing all right.
Okay. Yellowstone Season 5 premiered recently. Are you a fan of this show?
I never watched it. You didn't really care for it, so I didn't watch it.
I checked it out this past summer because everyone was talking about it so much. I got, I think, 6 episodes in.
Yeah.
And then maybe not even that, and I just tapped out. It's
a cowboy show, is it not?
It is.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Cowboy shows.
This is in the modern day.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably my parents might like it because they were back in those Lone Ranger
Maybe.
days.
I enjoy westerns, but this show just didn't speak to me.
Oh.
So I got into it and I'm like, no, it's cowboys and Indians and this is not for me.
Okay.
Because the one guy lives on a native reserve.
Oh,
but it's that old classic trope.
Cowboys and natives.
Yes. Anyway, so moving on, Disney Plus. Remember we talked about Disney last episode?
Okay, we have talked about it a lot.
We were talking about how they were having layoffs and cutbacks and
they weren't doing
all kinds of cost-cutting measures were instituted by their CEO, Bob Chapek.
I knew that they just said they hadn't done as well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they were doing a lot of things.
Yeah, so they were doing all these cutbacks.
Okay, what did they cut?
Well, they're cutting back some jobs. That's why there's layoffs. They're cutting back on spending for travel. They're cutting back on spending for new hires.
Are they cutting any particular projects that we know of yet?
No, haven't heard anything on that.
Say.
That's not what we've heard. This actually is from Disney, right?
Mm.
We read an article that was released to CNN. I read through that article and I just mentioned some highlights in the last episode. So in addition to that stuff, they're increasing the prices for Disney Plus.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is going to be the same in Canada at this time, but in the US, what's happening is your regular price membership for Disney Plus is going up. Okay?
Right.
If you want that. But at the same time, they're introducing a lower tier. And with ads. Okay?
Right, this is the plan.
And they'll say, okay, you can keep having the same level of service, but you gotta pay more, or you can go for a lower tier and you have to watch ads.
The ads are irritating.
And get this, here's the best part of this. The lower tiered ad is what people are currently paying right now.
Oh, so it's not like you get a discount on what you're doing now for ads. Oh.
So if you keep paying the same amount you're paying now, you have to watch it with ads.
Oh.
Or you have to pay more to get the same level of service you're getting right now.
Right. It's
That's a real...
I'm always looking at the YouTube, like you guys are right now.
That's a real screw to the customer.
Right. The ads are irritating. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm usually watching, on my YouTube, it's usually short things or craft videos or something like that. But if I was watching a show and I was really into it and you're waiting to see who done it or something, and then there's an ad for shampoo or something, it's just like TV again, but you can't fast forward those ads.
And it's way more expensive than cable ever was.
I don't know.
Because cable was originally pretty expensive, but with combining packages and everything, okay, it got out of hand at one point. So now cable is pretty cheap because it's all combined, and now we're paying for all these different streaming services, and it's way more expensive than cable ever was.
We don't have cable anymore, right? We have a package that comes with fiber op, so there's no such thing as cable anymore. But it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
Well,
none of it's cheap. I
in
mean,
some parts of the country, cable is still a thing, right?
YouTube is the only thing right now that's free.
Yeah, but you gotta watch ads.
You got it, and you also have to pay for the internet to watch it on.
Well.
So in the end, and pay if you're watching on your phone, pay for the phone every month, But catch it anyway. Anyway, it's all expensive.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't have all the different streaming services. I don't have Paramount Plus. I don't have Apple TV Plus.
Yes.
Because for now, if I get more money, I can.
I say yes, because I know
But there's so many out there.
Yes, we were watching a preview just now for Apple.
Yeah, we'll get into the trailer section.
Yeah, and I was like, well, we don't have it.
So,
anyway.
Getting back to what we were talking about, Disney has all these cost-cutting measures.
Right.
Okay? They're cutting the budget.
Right.
And at the same time, because they haven't done so well and they've had losses, they're making the customers pay for it at the same time.
Well,
so, this is really bad leadership. Because if you got a CEO that is, because of...
You got an axe to grind with this guy, so you don't
okay.
know. It hasn't.
Let's
it's
see.
Not the plan.
Let me explain to you who Bob Chapek is. Okay,
well,
give me a minute. I've never met him, but I read the entertainment news all the time. So this guy gets brought in the middle of the pandemic when all the parks are shut down, and like all production is halted. This is when this guy takes over as CEO. This is the worst conditions, right?
But we're still getting content. It's not like, he's halted content and saying we're not going to get anything. Not like
You're arguing my point, but you haven't even let me explain my point.
When that guy came in and canceled all the projects.
Okay. Let me finish my point here. So this guy comes in the worst conditions, okay? And he kind of makes a few blunders. And then he keeps making a few more blunders. And now we're at this point where they've had losses due to his poor leadership and his executives that he put in place above the creative people, the heads of the studios.
According to you, yes.
No, this is fact.
Well, it might not necessarily be because of that.
So, because of these decisions that are being made, what that means is they've had losses because their product isn't as good, so people aren't enjoying it as much. Many of the Disney Plus series weren't as good. Many of the Marvel movies weren't as well received as others were.
That's always been the way with the Marvel movies before the pandemic. Some of them are awful. I don't think you can blame it all on this guy. You're looking for a fall guy.
Many of them were. Right now, they seem to be focusing more on quantity over quality.
We got WandaVision.
They're pumping out tons of stuff.
We got WandaVision. That was like the first one out.
Yeah, that was the first one out, and
really
it was good. It was good.
It's always
I like the second one too, Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus.
Andor, and I think it's fantastic. He didn't cut that project.
You're not letting me get to my point.
I don't know.
He came in, he made a bunch of bonehead moves, okay? And now they've had losses, so now they're cutting costs. Instead of trying to make their product better, they're cutting costs, and they're making their customers pay for their losses.
They got shareholders to please. That's what it's all about. This is all money business.
Yes, it is.
Entertainment business is money. It's about money.
Yes,
people are
absolutely.
Doing it
but this is
charity.
Not how you treat your customers.
Well, we'll see.
So what's to stop people from just stop subscribing to Disney Plus?
They're going to have to put things on there that people want to see. And like I said last week, I don't think a lot of people are into it in the first place.
Okay.
But we'll see what's going to happen in the next few years with all these. We're going to have to get packages or something on the go because it's getting kind of ridiculous with all these separate
There's already been a couple mergers of streaming services.
Yeah, we need to get this kind of straightened out because it's getting kind of beyond with so many of them.
Yeah, if you have to pay for them. And it's worse in the U.S.
It's separate paperwork for each one and renewals and everything. It's just, I don't know, we'll see. Like if I had to pay for each channel I was watching,
It is very expensive.
It's, but see, I don't get the choice. That's the other thing. When you pick a package, say for television, you don't get to pick the ones that you really like. These other ones come with it, right? So we'll see what happens in the future. It has nothing to do with
Disney Plus, though.
Well, I don't know. It's just a sign of the times. Everyone's cutting costs right now. All those big evil companies are cutting things too. It's all with the bottom line. So we'll
I think they're going to end up losing more money with these choices they're making.
Well, as long as they give us good content like Andor, I'm okay.
Okay.
We're getting some good stuff. So.
And great content like Book of Boba Fett, because you love that.
That was bad, but I don't think he could be blamed for that, because that was probably already in the bag before when he started. That was just written wrong, and whoever greenlighted that, they didn't see the whole concept. They saw probably a picture. And then they said, we better bring in that Baby Yoda. It needs to be saved.
Remember how it was just that 6-episode format?
I guess so.
Okay.
It was terrible.
That's based on their executive choices that management made. Because for a long time, all the Disney Plus shows were just 6 episodes.
I guess, but you know what? That's going on.
And that was because it was mandated by management.
Back in the day, when we used to have these things called miniseries, right? They were 6 episodes, and some of them were fantastic. You know, that's where that's based off.
But some of these Disney Plus things I've seen more, they should have been a movie, as if they were stretched out over 6 episodes. And then others felt they should have been longer.
Bad writing, right? They gotta get better writers. They gotta put the money into the writers. That's what they gotta do.
True.
Forget the effects and everything. Put it into the writing of the actual story.
Once again, that's a quality issue. That's what I'm saying. They're sacrificing quality for quantity, and that's why we keep getting so much content.
Minutia,
because we've had so much content on Disney Plus. Now, going back to Yellowstone, Season 5 premiered. That's on Paramount Plus and Prime. We get it here on Prime, but it's also on Paramount Plus.
Watching it by the sounds of what you
However, Episode 1 premiered with 12.1 million viewers.
People are liking it, obviously.
So that means this is a big show. I tapped out of it pretty early on, but...
A lot of people that live in the city like the idea of being out in the country with the cow.
Do you know what the show is? The premise of this show?
No, but I know it's about being,
It's the Dutton family. It's the Dutton family, Kevin Costner and his kids in Montana, and they're they're fighting the future because developers want to move in and start building houses, and they got this giant piece of property so they can go live like cowboys in Montana.
People
there.
Like the cowboy lifestyle.
And so they're fighting the future because that's the whole premise of the show.
Well, they don't have to sell their land, I suppose. No one's forced to sell their land. The government takes it over.
That's the whole premise of the show, and so they're fighting to keep hold of their land so they can keep living,
Okay, well, people like Kevin Costner. If I get COVID this winter and I'm stuck doing nothing for like a few days, maybe I'll watch it.
No, you can check it out. It's really popular, and there's a spin-off show coming at 1883 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Is it from the year 1883?
Yeah, it's a spin-off, so it's a prequel to the current show.
Because Yellowstone is based on current.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's a spin-off, so it's the Dutton family in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's like the Game of Thrones.
And they got 2 amazing actors in it.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Okay.
Again, it's about the writing.
One more piece of news before we jump into what's new streaming this week is Walter Hamada. He's the former head of DC Films.
Okay.
He was put in charge of DC Films, even though that was still under Warner Brothers Pictures.
Yes.
As a studio. He was put in charge of the DC Extended Universe, DCEU, but he was never really given an opportunity to do his job.
Okay.
So he's a producer, and he had, it was one of the big, he might have been involved in the Conjuring series.
Right, which I didn't
And then I think James Wan was involved with Saw, and one of them might have been involved with the Insidious movies.
They all sound like scary type of movies.
Yeah. So,
Horror
really
movies.
Successful movies.
I guess so, yes.
Successful franchise.
I just don't like those kind of movies.
So Walter Hamada left Warner Brothers.
Yes.
And now he's been hired by Paramount.
Okay.
And supposedly he's going to be working with James Wan over there, so they can work together.
Some Star Trek stuff?
Is it Paramount? I thought it was Universal.
Oh, well, Paramount would be Star Trek stuff. That's the problem. Like, now if if you want to watch something, you have to get a streaming service. It's getting a bit too much. Anyway, we currently have, in our house, we have Neflix, we have Prime, and we have just the basic, as you call it, cable. That's what we have, and you have Disney. So that's a lot. That's a lot. It costs money.
is joining Paramount Pictures. I thought it was Universal he was talking about.
Maybe they'll make some good Star Trek stuff, because some of it's good, some of it's bad.
I think they're going to be making more horror stuff and scary stuff. Because he can go work with Blumhouse at Universal.
Star Trek could be scary, too.
I don't think they would. Do you think they would take it in that direction?
They can. Some episodes are scary.
That would be great. Yeah. Remember a few years...
Anything would be better than Discovery, because that was just... Discovery.
Yeah, I don't know why you kept watching that. It was garbage. I have
to watch it, because I have to know what happens, because they're going to base other things on it. So I watched it, and I suffered through it. I mean, there wasn't a lot that I took from it. I don't know if it's still going to be made. Other than that new Section 31. Is that what it's called? Which is,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a... It talks about them a lot. It's also been alluded to in the lower decks as well. And I heard there was going to be a show about it. It's like a Black Ops spy/agency, but they seem to be more on the evil side than anything. But they're supposed to work with the Federation. But anyway, that was the only good thing that came out. Something interesting about it. Discovery was just painful.
I was watching the first season with you, and then I tapped out when the first part was over. I was like, no, this is not good. So, you know what I would want to see from Star Trek? Because I haven't been into Star Trek for a while. No. But what I would want to see is, remember a few years ago, they were talking about that Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie?
What was that?
Well, Quentin Tarantino had expressed interest in doing a Star Trek movie.
I didn't know that.
So people started speculating about what that would be. Wouldn't you want to see Captain Samuel Jackson in the Star Trek universe, just swearing at everyone?
I don't know if that's...
Come on, that would be hilarious. Okay.
Well, if he really likes it, he could probably make a really good film.
Yeah, he would, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Good music in it.
It would be great if it did. That was an idea that was floating around like 4 or 5 years ago.
You don't always like his movies. I tend to really like his movies. You don't always like them.
Yeah, some of them are kind of meandering and boring.
I like most of them.
I'm not the biggest Quentin Tarantino fan. He does have some good stuff.
I like the music he puts in his movies as well.
Anyway, we really got off on a tangent there. So, yeah. Yellowstone season 5, Paramount.
Okay, we're probably not going to watch
it. Walter Hamada also went to Paramount.
Anybody out there who's watched it, you can put in the comments on our video about what you think of it.
There is a bunch of new stuff streaming this week.
Okay.
And that new stuff is, we got Limitless with Chris Hemsworth on Disney+.
Which has nothing to do with the show that I liked. That only went for one season.
Okay. No, this is a National Geographic special.
Okay, which is also based on the
movie. I didn't know this was coming out, so we have to watch a lot of trailers this week.
Yeah.
So we watched the trailer. Is this something you would be interested in watching?
I don't know. I say you check it out and tell me what it's like. It doesn't really look like my kind of thing. Looks like they're just making this guy do like Fear Factor things.
Yeah. I guess it's a documentary. I watched the trailer. I might get to it.
Like they're
I might not.
The poor fella.
No, apparently he wants to go through this.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I might check it out. It's on Disney+.
It's like he's been put through Fear Factor, but he's just by himself, and he doesn't win a prize at the end. That's new out this week. Also new out this week, we got the Santa Clauses on Disney+. So you remember the movie The Santa Claus with Tim Allen? Yeah, I
back in the 90s?
I did watch it.
Which I think I saw it a couple of times just on TV.
I might have seen parts of it.
I didn't see it in the theater. And then they made that into a trilogy, I think.
I'm not a big Tim Allen fan.
Yeah. Well, no. Apparently a lot of people aren't these days. But they're bringing him back, and he's now in this new Santa Clauses series on Disney+. Are you going to watch this?
No.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to watch it either. I was never a big fan of this.
No. I might want to watch it.
If you're really into those kind of Christmas movies, check it out. It's on Disney+ already. And then we got The Wonder on Netflix. And I'd never heard anything about it, didn't care, and then this is starring Florence Pugh. Well, now I'm interested in watching it.
I want to see that one. It looks like it's like a.
It looks like a scary version of Little House on the Prairie to me.
Well, it reminds me of something that happened back in the day that like the Amherst ghost, this girl was supposed to be haunted by this poltergeist, and the whole town and the whole province was following the story. It seems like something like that. There's a girl in a house and something odd is happening, and they're trying to determine what it is. Is it a hoax? Is it real? That's what it seems like, and it's back.
Is this something you're going to check out?
Yeah, I'm going to check it out.
I'm going to check it out too. Maybe we'll watch that together then.
Yeah.
Okay, also new this week on HBO. So that's Crave here in Canada, or HBO Max in the US.
Yes.
Christmas Story Christmas. We watched this trailer. Looked like kind of
Christmas Story Christmas.
Looked
Who was
like
in that one?
I don't know if there's anyone I know in it.
We saw so many previews.
We did. We really did.
You were looking for it. A Christmas Story Christmas is a silly name. Is this the one it's based on the movie, original film from the 80s, and it's then him grown up? Yes. That's what it's about. I never did see that movie with the leg lamp in it. I have never seen it.
Oh, what
That's
is
what
the name of that movie?
Is about. It's a Christmas story, I'm guessing.
I guess.
And this one is about the little boy, and there's a leg lamp. That's all I kind of know about it.
Anyway,
I never saw it.
This is a family movie.
And this is him grown up.
Yeah.
Still looks the same.
Yeah.
And whatever he goes through.
Yeah.
So people who like that original movie from the 80s, they could watch it. I've never seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
More National Lampoons.
So I guess this is just a sequel, you know?
It's a sequel, and it has characters, obviously, from the first one.
And it's streaming on Netflix
So
now.
maybe we'll watch both.
Doesn't have anyone in it that I recognize.
If I have time. No, well, it's people from that original film, so if you like that one, that'll be for you.
Excellent. Next, we got Pepsi, Where's My Jet? Which is on Netflix. We're going to talk about that later on the show because we both watched the first episode of it, so we'll save that for the reviews.
Okay.
Disenchanted is on Disney Plus.
Disenchanted.
Do you remember the first Disenchanted movie?
No.
Oh.
I didn't see it.
Wasn't for me either, so
I'm
going to skip that one. But Disenchanted is out on Disney Plus now. Mickey, the Story of a Mouse is on Disney Plus. This looks like a documentary, kind of a history of Mickey Mouse.
Oh, a history of him. I mean, I've seen shows about it before.
If it's a short one, I might check that out.
Mickey and all that, back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might.
I'll watch that.
Maybe if it's short. The Great British Baking Show Holidays is on Netflix. So they got a holiday special?
Oh, they do every year. It's on Netflix now. Will they have other baking shows on Netflix, I wonder?
I don't know.
Because normally I've had to catch it on, I have to record it on PBS or on CBC. That's normally where I've seen it. But yeah, every year they have a Christmas special and they bring back certain contestants and they compete. Normally they don't have as many. And there's also been a couple of just teaching you how to bake things. I remember when they did Stalin bread one year, and I made that for Christmas, and I was able to give it to my relatives. It lasts forever.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. It was sent to the soldiers in the First World War, and they shared it when they had a little armistice, like a little piece there.
So are you interested in watching the Great British Baking Show Holiday Special?
I watched everything to do with the Great British Baking Show. You've never seen it, so you have no idea.
I've never really been into it. I've seen a few minutes of it here and there.
So
are you going to watch through it and get back to everyone on it?
Yeah, they should watch it too, because it's good.
Okay. So you recommend it. Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Slumberland starts streaming on Netflix. Are you familiar with this one?
No, it sounds scary. Is it scary?
I don't remember.
I
watched too many trailers. I can't
tell you
remember.
one thing I have started watching, which you don't have on your list, is something called Mammals. I watched the first episode. I'm not convinced about it. It has James Corden, and his wife is this gorgeous woman who's like a Gal Gadot type person. So James Corden, Gal Gadot, it's not her name, but do they go together? No. So she's really out of his league. What does that have to do with
Slumberland?
No, I'm saying that's another new show that just came out. It's called Mammals.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm not convinced so far. It's odd too. It's trying to pop random items into this. This is what the kids these days like, random items. I'm not convinced so far.
Slumberland is on Netflix there. This is the fantasy movie with Jason Momoa and the kid.
Oh, I never
You remember
even heard
watching
of
that
it.
trailer?
No, you didn't show me that one. You showed me like 50 other ones, but I didn't see that. Who is the director on it?
Apparently audiences are really liking it. It's got a 93% audience score.
Well, women like
37% critic score, though.
It's the ladies.
Who directed it? Francis Lawrence.
Okay. I don't know. We'll have to see.
All right.
We'll check it out. So far, Mammals, I'm still on the fence about it. I only watched one.
Spirited on Apple TV Plus.
Right. Well, we're not going to see it.
We don't have.
I'd like to watch it.
But this is coming out. Actually, this is out now.
It has Ryan Reynolds, and it has Will Ferrell in it, and he's good at Christmas movies, obviously.
So it's a new version of A Christmas Carol,
right,
but it's a musical.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
There's been so many versions of that.
I think it's already getting good early reviews.
It looks fun. I like to see it, but of course we don't have Apple.
We don't have Apple TV Plus. We just want to let everyone know who does that is out there. A new Hulu show might have just started today. Welcome to Chippendales. This is the Kumail Nanjiani.
It's about the beginning of.
So this will be on Disney Plus on Stars for us.
I guess Chippendales is a franchise.
Apparently these are the guys that started this.
The Chippendales franchise.
Yeah, the brand. The brand. So apparently it's supposed to be an interesting story.
Well, probably the people that want to watch Jason Momoa are also going to be watching.
Maybe.
It's for the ladies. Get the wine out and watch it.
I don't think it's supposed to be like that, but moving on. 1899 new series on Netflix.
1899. There's a lot of these year films coming up. I'm getting them all mixed up now.
This is the one on the boat.
Oh, yes.
This is the one. It looks like there's a haunted boat. And I think this is
haunted boat with the missing people.
It appears to be a Norwegian film, I'm guessing.
It's like Manifest.
Check it out.
But at sea. Manifest is a show. You haven't watched it. I have suffered through it. It's like Lost. You kind of want to know what is really the explanation for it all, but I'm so sick of watching it. I don't know if I can get to the end. It has a new season, just came out, I believe, this week again. I think that's the 3rd season, and it's just a slog, Manifest. It's about a plane that basically, it goes down. It's like a holiday. They're in the tropics or something, and the plane crashes. And, of course, and 5 years later, the plane reappears.
You're thinking of a different trailer. We were talking about 1899.
I'm talking about 1899. It's the same thing, but at sea. Manifest is the same thing in the air.
I think this is a Scandinavian film.
It might be more
It's got
scary.
pretty good ratings so far. This is a series on Netflix. It's got 82% critic rating and 80% audience score so far.
It looks like aliens.
That came out on Thursday. I have not had time to get to it yet, but I am going to watch this one.
Well, I'm hoping it's better than Manifest. Because now that I started watching Manifest, I have to know why this all happened. So I have to keep on watching it. But it's very irritating. So I advise you don't start with Manifest.
So don't watch it then.
No, don't get stuck like me.
It's like one of those rabbit holes when people went down that Lost.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Lost. And this one looks similar. And Manifest, basically what I was going to say, 5 years later, the plane appears, all full of the people, and they land. And they haven't aged in the 5 years. But a family was split up on the plane. Some took a cheap seats or something like that. And so they're twins, and one twin is now like 19, and the other kid is still a little kid. You know, and it's just this one family, and it goes on, and they're superhero people, exactly. Like, they're running around town, and...
So does this go the Rivendell route? Because Rivendell went off a cliff the last few seasons.
No, this Manifest is like, it's like, the things that they're able to do are just impossible. It's this one little family, and... they're like solving all this thing, and they have visions. All the passengers have visions. It goes on and on.
So are you going to watch 1899?
I will, but I'm very leery of it because Manifest has been... It's the same thing.
You're already going down that Manifest. You stumbled down that hole there.
I don't know. We'll see.
Next, we watched some trailers for stuff that's not out yet. On Netflix, they got a new trailer for The Recruit. It looks like a young lawyer who's been recruited by the CIA.
And it's by the same people that have done The Rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I enjoyed The Rookie at first,
mm-hmm.
but now I can't watch it anymore. It's just gone beyond. Like, it's just these people are not superheroes, essentially.
How many years has The Rookie been running?
3.
Well, he's not a rookie then. He's been on the job for 3 years.
Oh, now he's training people. But I can't watch it anymore. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. And then next we watched the trailer for The Glass Onion, which is a Knives Out sequel.
Right.
Did you enjoy the original Knives Out?
I did like it.
Okay. I thought it was okay. Didn't blow me away, but it was
I liked it.
It was an alright murder mystery.
I like murder mysteries, and there's not enough of them if you ask me.
Okay.
So.
Although I did enjoy Daniel Craig's character.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Bennett Blanc.
Yeah,
something like that.
His accent is weird.
Essentially, what he's done is he's created his modern day Hercule Poirot.
Right.
That's what he's done.
Agatha Christie type of thing.
Yeah, so he's kind of just copied that model.
Yeah, it's definitely been copied.
And he's got Daniel Craig acting like this kind of bumbling detective.
Weird accent he has. It's hard to reconcile him with that, which is very interesting. It causes a lot of interest,
So this is interesting because this is going to be released on Netflix because they paid for the rights. They paid Rian Johnson the rights for the sequels.
Oh.
Because he's making more than one.
Are we going to see that in the theaters?
Here's the thing, though. Netflix is trying a new model where they're releasing The Glass Onion in theaters next week for 1 week. Okay? Because Netflix movies don't go into theaters.
And then what will they do?
Then it goes on to Netflix.
Oh.
If it goes, well, the hope is, say we go to see it, I'll go see it in theaters because I'd rather see it in theaters than just at home on Netflix. If people go see it in theaters and say Netflix makes $20 million.
Right.
Okay? Then that's $20 million more that they wouldn't have had if they just put it right on their service. Because when they release these movies on streaming service, they don't get any money for that.
No,
they hope to get more subscribers.
Well, no, that's good. I think it's just like a lot of movies that are not done through a streaming service, and they go in the theater, and then right away they're on a streaming service. So why not?
So are you going to go see The Glass Onion in theaters, or wait for it on Netflix?
I'll probably see it at home because I just don't have time, I don't think, to see all these things.
Yeah. There's a lot coming out.
I definitely want to see it, though.
I'm going to see it probably on preview night on Thursday night.
I can't go Thursdays because we have to take our child places.
So that's all the new streaming shows and some new trailers. There's a lot of stuff going on this week.
Yeah, and more, too, that we probably haven't talked about.
Oh, yeah. In fact, there was more news I didn't include just because I already had so much.
Well, next week I'll tell you what Mammals is like, because I don't know. Don't watch it yet.
And moving on, let's jump into our reviews.
Right.
So, we should probably start with the one we already mentioned there earlier, which was the Pepsi Where's My Jet documentary series on Netflix.
We both
that just started
only
this
watched
week.
one episode of that.
So we watched the first episode so far.
Yes.
I gotta say, I am fascinated by this story. I mean, I lived through this.
Right.
I remember hearing about this news story, and I remember those commercials.
Yeah,
So I heard about the news story, but I never heard what happened with it.
Yeah.
Like everyone just assumed Pepsi paid them off. Okay? But I don't know what happened.
I didn't know about it because I was older. I didn't watch the commercial. I
find this really interesting. And I can't wait to... The first episode really introduces you to the characters.
Right.
To the guys that got involved in this. Because... Okay, sorry. I should explain it. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, one, you can check out the trailer on YouTube, Pepsi Where's My Jet. The premise of this is Pepsi had a program where one summer they came up with a promotional deal where they'd have Pepsi points. Okay?
Right.
So you would collect Pepsi points on their products, and then you would trade those in before the contest was over.
For t-shirts or whatever.
For Pepsi swag.
Merchandise.
For Pepsi swag. So you buy their products, and then you send in Pepsi points, and they send you some of their swag.
Right.
Okay? So you wear their merchandise and promote them more. Because Pepsi is all about advertising.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? So, they released a commercial and it showed all the different merchandise you could get. Not all of it.
I don't think it's
Okay?
like that.
And then at the end, there was a joke where the kid who's wearing all his Pepsi swag landed a Harrier jet in front of his school, and it said Harrier jet, 7 million Pepsi points.
Right. That's what it's about. We don't want to tell them anything. They should watch it. We don't want to get
No,
into
but
it.
this was a news story. This is in the public.
Yes.
Okay? I'm
but
saying
the only
the
thing
premise is that this guy wanted to get 7 million points in order to get the jet.
Right.
And this was in the news at the time, and I remember
Yeah.
hearing about this. So this is that story of how they went about it and what happened.
Right. Well, it's supposed to be 4 episodes. We'll see. We watched 1 episode. I don't know if it needs to be 4 episodes. They're really teasing it apart at this point. That's what I found.
Yeah, the first episode was just introducing
Yeah.
the guys who did it and coming up with the idea and how they went about it.
I don't know.
Next, we're going to find
see.
out what evil corporate America did to them.
I don't know. We don't know. We haven't seen any more episodes. I think it
The
could be
trailer made it look like they did some pretty nasty things.
I didn't see that. I think it could be just a 1 hour show. They seem to be just pulling it all out and
Anyway.
making these people kind of larger than life.
So are you tapping out then after the first episode?
No, I'll watch it, but I think it's going to be a lot. 4 episodes. I don't know.
They were less than 40 minutes, so
I guess.
we'll see how it goes. So that's our first review. So are you still on board with this?
I'll watch it, but for me, I'm not as interested in it.
I'm really interested. I reserve my right to give a score till the whole series is over.
Yeah, we haven't watched all. That's
but
what I'm saying. They seem
so
to be
far,
pulling
I'm
it.
really interested in this story, and they did a good job in the first episode. Okay, so I'm not fully on board, but I'm excited for this. And next we watched Avenue 5 on HBO.
You're caught
Crave.
up to me now.
I got caught up, and so now we watched the new episode.
Right.
And this was about, let me see if I can remember. This was where...
The captain's reign.
Oh, yes. They had kicked out their captain and elected him. So
and now he's a
he's
supreme dictator.
the supreme leader.
And they're like bowing to him.
And they put up all this propaganda for him because he's the TV show Captain Ryan.
And he has to wear the wig.
Yep.
But we can't give it all away.
He has to wear the makeup. We're not giving it away.
No, we have to. Something bad is happening. And they're trying to stop it. And I don't know.
I'm going to give you my review that I posted on Twitter there. So, Avenue 5, Season 2, Episode 6. This one's off the rails. More of Sarah. The Supreme Leader is holding all of us.
Yes.
Which is a funny joke in it. Funny reference. And there's an injury at Cuddle Club. Question mark.
Cuddle Club.
I'm certain all these characters are going insane. It's quite entertaining and the comedy is growing on me. Not bad.
No.
That was my review of it.
Yes. Well, Matt went insane a long time ago and it just shows in this episode.
Yeah, he's taken his tie and tied as a bandana around his head.
Yeah. He's gone, exactly.
So, yeah, the humor has grown on me considering I didn't find it that funny at first. It's an interesting premise and the production values and all the performances are great.
Yeah.
So.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I especially love that they glued the wig on it.
Yeah. So I may not find the comedy as entertaining as you, but it's definitely a fun show.
Oh,
so I would say check it out and
it's definitely a fun show.
Yeah, watch season 1. It gets better as it goes, I found. And then season 2, yeah, it's pretty good.
It makes your day brighter. That's for sure. Yeah, which is a good thing these days.
So overall, yeah, I think I'll stick around and continue watching this season.
We're almost finished, I think.
What was it, 9 episodes?
There's usually 10, I think.
I thought the first season was only 9.
I think it was 10.
Gonna disagree with you there.
Anyway, we're almost finished. Too bad. Hopefully we get a 3rd season.
Next up. Anyway, so you're going to continue watching.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out at the end if we're going to. We'll probably know if we're getting another season or not.
I don't know what kind of rating it's getting.
Well, I mean, if the ship lands or whatever, I guess we'll find out. If it's still lost in space, we'll know, I guess, at the end that there could be another season.
What it says. It says it has an average audience score of 69%. It doesn't seem to have any critic ratings for it. So, it doesn't seem to be having huge success, but maybe I'll get another season.
I think it's great.
Anyway. Okay, we're enjoying it. Next up, we watched Andor, Star Wars Andor.
Yes, we did.
So, I'll give you my quick review for episode 11 that I posted on Twitter.
Yeah.
The show continues to impress each week. I half expected Skarsgård to bust out a lightsaber on Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker plays Saw Gerrera. What's going to happen with Mon Mothma? Question mark. Is the Empire coming for her? Question mark. I think something big will happen next week. Maybe end on a cliffhanger.
I don't know. It's in the last episode. Well, this episode wasn't as good as the one before. But
no?
The one before had so much suspense and everything. This one's just it's kind of tying up and getting ready for the last one. That's what I felt. There was a lot of stuff going on in it, but it wasn't so suspenseful and everything as the last one.
Mm-hmm.
This one, but they're getting prepared. It's the launching pad for the final episode of the season, which comes next week. That's what I felt about it.
I enjoyed this one. It wasn't as action packed, but there was definitely stakes going on.
Oh, there's stuff going on for sure.
I mean, there's no stakes for Andor, for Cassian Andor, because we see him later on in Rogue One. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen Rogue One, a Star Wars story, it's in my top 5 Star Wars movies. It's really good. So we know he's going to be in that, and this is a prequel series, but he does a lot of good character development for his character.
Right.
And you also see him progressing into the person he's going to be.
But the thing is,
but there's stakes for everyone else.
We know where he ends up. We know where Saw Gerrera ends up. We know where Mothra we know where they end up.
We don't know what happens to Mon Mothra, though.
No, but we know.
We don't know if she ends up in prison or something.
She's in the future, but all these other people are not. So
that we know of.
We haven't seen them. So we'll have to see, especially this main character who's kind of...
Luthen?
Yeah, he's the one...
Yeah, that's Skarsgård's
planning
character.
it all. He's not in the future, and you would think they would have...
There was some talk online when he goes to see Saw Gerrera and his security check him. He hands him like a wooden stick.
Yeah.
Could be a billy club. There was some discussion that people thought it might have been a lightsaber.
It didn't look like a big pepper shaker to me. I didn't know what it was.
I would say it looked like a billy club.
Well, he has ancient relics that he's got in his store. So Lord knows what it was.
In his workshop, he's got a Jedi holocron and a Sith holocron.
Well, it was
which are very rare artifacts.
Who knows what it was, but I would like the Saw Gerrera conversation that he had, because we all know Saw Gerrera is a bit, unhinged, right?
Yeah.
And he's unhinged at this time in his life as well.
Well, he's been fighting since he was a teenager.
Yes, especially when we see him in Rogue One. He's very unpredictable. His family. He's very unpredictable.
Wars,
and he's the same, and you can see all the wheels turning there in his mind about everything. It's just nice to see that character again. I don't know if we'll see him anymore. I don't think we really need to.
I think we will.
I don't know.
I think we will.
Get him because in Rogue
One? In Star Wars Andor, he's more intact than he is in Rogue One.
Oh yeah, he's
in Rogue
on the
One,
sidelines.
let's just say he's in worse shape and he's missing more limbs. So that's why
right.
I thought if Luthen brings in a lightsaber and they get into a dispute, you could just chop off one of his limbs, and then it's like, well, that's why he's got a metal foot in the movie.
Right. No, I just felt like he doesn't need to be in the final episode. It just shows he's another section of the Resistance, and he's a section that obviously continues on. There's another section that's going down, and that section is lost, right? So we're getting to understand the Rebel network, I suppose, and where his role was in it at this time, I guess. But anyway, it's just interesting to see the character because it's a great character. I like him a lot better than Luthen. I like his character a lot better. Anyway, it's good to see him.
You're not enjoying Skarsgård yet? I find he's the best one in this series.
I just don't like the character. But anyway, I like... basically, yeah. I
Wouldn't it be amazing if Luthen turned out to be an ex-Jedi who actually escaped Order 66, and that would explain why he has all these ancient relics, and he's had to go dark in order to survive, and he's been plotting to take down the Empire since Order 66, which was in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which is a great Star Wars movie.
He's Master Cypher-Diaz.
No, Master Cypher-Diaz is dead by then.
I know. I still want to see what he looked like. Anyway,
there's some stuff for that in the Legends expanded universe. He's got this giant head. It's an alien.
Anyway, I don't know, but I don't think that about him. I think he's just one of the people that we don't see when the movies come out. We don't see that part of the Rebels.
We don't see Ahsoka, but she's alive at that time period too.
Yeah, but we've seen her in a lot of things.
Yeah, and we're going to see more of her in the Star Wars Ahsoka series coming up.
Oh, I
think they're already
that.
filming.
Is that a real series, like in-person series?
Yeah, that's live action, and it's
Oh.
with...
Who is playing Ahsoka?
Well, we saw her in The Mandalorian. Season 2?
Yes.
Oh,
The same actress is playing her?
Yes.
Or it's an older Ahsoka. Okay.
Ahsoka.
Yeah. And we just saw her in the short little Star Wars. What were those called that we watched this week? With the little episodes with Ahsoka in them. Shows her birth when she was a baby. We just
Tales of the Jedi, yes. That is a great segue. We can go into our next things.
Yeah.
But overall, you're still enjoying Andor. You're going to watch the last episode?
Yes.
Last episode next week on Disney Plus.
For the last episode, which I'm excited about.
And to answer your question, Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka.
So she's an
she was
older
in
Ahsoka.
Mandalorian Season 2.
Right. I'm just wondering what stage in the life
we forgot this one. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Tales of the Jedi just came out on Disney Plus. These are 5 or 6, I think it's 6 animated shorts.
Yeah.
And I believe these are by Dave Filoni, because it's got his fingerprints all over it.
They're just filling in kind of missing information that some of it was probably, it was good to hear. Other we didn't really need to see it, about the Star Wars story.
Yeah, the first one is the origin of Ahsoka.
Right.
It's like how she got involved with the Jedi.
It wasn't necessary.
I didn't need to see that.
Interesting.
There was another one with Ahsoka that wasn't that interesting. Her later on at the temple. We should
tell people who Ahsoka is, because people don't know who she is.
I'll put the image up on the screen by now.
She was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan learner.
Yeah. So and Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader.
Right, and she was his student.
Yes. In between episodes 2 and 3.
Which we never see her in the movies, but we've seen a
lot of her in the Star Wars animated shows, which is really amazing.
She's a really
checking it out.
Really great character, and I wish we would have seen her more.
Well, we're going to see her more.
Great, I'm excited about that.
Now she's going to be in the new Ahsoka series.
Right.
Which is why she showed up in Mandalorian Season 2 and Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. She showed up talking to Luke there.
Right. But she is an interesting character because she's a ex-Jedi who is still alive when all the other Jedis are mostly all wiped out.
She's a Jedi who was kicked out of the Jedi Order before Order 66 in Episode 3 when all the Jedi were killed.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler for a movie that's 17 years old now.
What were they called? Clone Troopers. Before the Clone Troopers killed all the Jedis.
Yeah, the Clone Troopers, which then became Stormtroopers under the Empire.
Tried to kill Yoda and Chewbacca and all. Tried to kill.
This must sound like complete nonsense to anyone who doesn't know anything about Star
Wars.
It
doesn't matter. Ahsoka's a great character. We love the character, and I'm excited to see more of her.
Okay. So I think 2 of those animated shorts were about them. The other ones were about
Dooku.
Count Dooku and a younger Qui-Gon Jinn. And surprisingly, they got Liam Neeson. You know what? Not surprisingly, they got Liam Neeson to come back to do the voiceover because he has done voiceover work as Qui-Gon. You remember Qui-Gon Jinn was in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace?
Yes, he was also in the Orville series as well. They try to get as many alumni of space shows as they could.
But he's actually played Qui-Gon before in the animated form in Clone Wars, the animated show, which was a great show. Just the first 2 seasons weren't very good. We'll talk about Clone Wars another time. So they got him to come back, and we saw him recently in another Star Wars project on Disney Plus.
What else was he in?
He was in Obi-Wan.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, came back as Qui-Gon again.
Right.
So he was in it, and Count Dooku. Unfortunately, we can't have Christopher Lee in it because he passed away a few years ago. But there was some great stuff in there with Count Dooku, him younger and him turning away from the Jedi Order because the Jedi had lost their way and they became more of a political tool instead of actually doing what was right and being peace and guardians.
We never understood why Count Dooku turns as he is.
Yeah.
We never understand why.
They had alluded to it.
I mean, the whole Anakin transition, I think, is ridiculous in the movies. And they don't explain it. No. But this Count Dooku thing, they don't even try, which is kind of good, because the Anakin explanation didn't make sense to me. But, yeah, it sort of shows some of the things that were happening and how he didn't agree with the order. And I think that we agree with him when we watch these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a really interesting point of view, showing his side and more with Qui-Gon. And yeah, they're just 6 animated shorts, but I would definitely recommend checking them out, Tales of the Jedi. If you like them, then you can go back and start watching the animated stuff. Just start at the beginning there.
I would say watch the animated stuff first, really, because there's some characters you don't really get all that information.
Because most of that stuff is about characters from the movies, except for Ahsoka. So if you enjoy the animated stuff, then you're a big Star Wars fan, go back and start with, there's a Clone Wars animated movie that's on Disney Plus. It's like an hour and a half long. It's alright. They even got some of the big actors from the movies to be in it as well, do the voice acting. They got, I think they got Sam Jackson, and I think they did get Christopher Lee for that one too.
I enjoy all that stuff. I thought it was all good.
And then if you like that, you can jump into the Clone Wars series, which is also on Disney Plus. I would say, after you watch that movie, skip the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars.
They have to know what's happening. It's a little tedious.
No. Skip the first 2 seasons of Clone Wars and jump right into season 3. You won't have missed anything. You'll enjoy it much more. And if you want to go back and watch seasons 1 and 2, go ahead. But it's just villain of the week. There's no stakes because it's all characters that are in the next movie. So we know there's nothing. And they just put them together and kind of wacky. It's not very interesting.
No, but there's some interesting stuff comes out. And then after that, there's the Bad Batch, which we really enjoyed as well.
Anyway. If people go and watch that Clone Wars animated movie and then seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that'll give you a lot to watch. So we don't need to go into the other animated stuff now. What were we on there? We were talking about Andor. Wow, we really got off on a tangent there.
Oh, that's alright.
Oh yeah, and then we went into Tales of the Jedi. So Tales of the Jedi, I recommend checking it out. It's not very long.
No, they're not very long.
You might get through them all in half an hour.
They're not very long.
Okay. So we reviewed Avenue 5, we reviewed Star Wars Andor, Pepsi, Where's My Jet. Now we got to go into The Crown Season 5 that premiered last week. And we hadn't had a chance to see any of it from our last episode.
No, we've watched a few episodes now.
Yes, I believe we've watched the first 4 episodes of season 5. You want to hear my spoiler-free reviews?
Okay.
Or would you like to start with your review?
Well, I don't know. It's hard. You have to get into these new actors playing all the characters. Mm-hmm. And I really thought some of the casting from the last season was excellent. Mm-hmm. This casting, it's a bit harder to get into it.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't find this casting, especially the guy playing Charles, he doesn't act like Charles to me. Yeah. I find him, he just doesn't have the way he holds himself. He seems way too confident. Mm-hmm. He's not like
he's kind
of
cocky.
Charles is kind of more a little bit awkward. It's hard to get into the acting, and the guy playing Prince Philip, he's a great actor, but I think he has too much.
Jonathan Pryce.
He has too much emotion for him. His eyes are always speaking, and I don't. Philip, I think, was a more reserved person. Yeah. He just doesn't. The casting for me is a little bit off-putting.
It's off for me, because when I see Jonathan Pryce, especially an older Jonathan Pryce, I just think, well, he's the governor from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, well, I don't get into that. I've seen him in lots of things, but I feel
I bought Matt Smith as Philip.
He's a very athletic guy.
As a younger Philip.
Even his posture and everything. I find the casting is hard to get around this season. Now, Diana, the lady playing her, she looks more like Diana, not maybe in her face, but in her posture and in her their body and her. She looks more like
Elizabeth Debicki.
Yeah, I think that's great casting.
Probably butchering that as Diana.
For Diana.
Dominic West is Prince Charles.
He's way too suave.
Yeah,
I find.
I'm not doing that.
He's way too suave to be Charles. We haven't seen Camilla yet. We've only seen the back of her head, so we don't know who Camilla is.
What do you think of Imelda Staunton as Queen Elizabeth?
I don't find her as good as the Queen because she has a more contented face. And I don't
Imelda Staunton?
Yes, compared to like Olivia Colman, and the Queen, she just has a more. Her face is just so pleasant, and that's why she was so good in Harry Potter, playing an evil lady, because she had a pleasant smile on all the time. I mean, she's doing the best she can, but just physically, the look of her.
I think she looks more like the Queen than Olivia Colman did. I mean, Olivia Colman did a great job in the last couple of seasons.
I just find she has more depth. I mean, it's fine, but yeah, it's hard.
Put that on the poster. It's fine.
It's hard to transition. Now, this last episode, I really enjoyed it, about the Fayed family, because I didn't know all those things.
That was episode 3.
Yeah, that was
that was really interesting stuff there. This guy comes from...
I didn't know his history. All I knew is that he owned Herod, and he really loved his son, and it broke him when his son died. That's what I know about him.
Apparently he came from disreputable means, so he was poor, and then he worked his way up, and then he learned how to be a British gentleman. And
he was all about being a British gentleman.
Yeah, and he bought a villa.
Well, he first bought the Ritz, apparently, according to this show. I haven't fact checked any of it, but
they brought back the guy to play Edward.
Yeah. Now, see, the guy playing Charles is more like him. Anyway, I find the casting is hard to get your head around it, but I mean, it's interesting so far. We know it's going to be bad.
I've been enjoying it.
I'm kind of prepared for this,
I'll give you my reviews.
There's going to be some bad stuff happening. There's already been a few.
The first episode was a little bit slow for me, but I did enjoy it. I just thought it started off slow. Crown Season 5, Episode 1. Not the best start to the season. There's a lot of setup here, and I'm still warming up to the actors in these roles. I'd say I'm still warming up to some of them.
Andrew, the guy playing Andrew, is spot on this time around, and I didn't feel like he was portrayed properly before.
It's kind of a boring start. However, the show has earned my patience with 4 seasons of amazing storytelling, and I'm hoping that it's good. Because the first 4 seasons have been amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out The Crown on Netflix, you won't be sorry that you did. It's really amazing storytelling. Episode 2 got a little bit better. Diana's storyline is intriguing because it was showing a lot of her with her kids and some interaction with Charles. Philip and his super rich horse hobbies is a snooze fest. I found that to be just completely boring. He's carriage racing, which... Okay.
I know, it wouldn't be your thing. But it's getting into
He came through in the end, and he was at the end of the episode, he was a real ruthless bastard. He came through in the end, and he's actually started being interesting. I don't know if he really knew what Everyone loves Diana, but I don't care for any of these characters. This show gives me no sympathy for the royals.
I find
it's very interesting, but I don't feel sorry for any of them.
In this season, they're making Diana kind of flippant a bit.
Complicit in it?
Kind of. No, I just find they're making her kind of seem like she's a bit foolish. I don't know. There's a little bit different portrayal of her in this season. Yeah. And we still haven't really seen Sarah. They're talking about Sarah. We've heard about we've never really seen Sarah at all in The Crown. They only just talk about her. We saw the back of her head, an actress with red hair we assume is Sarah. She hasn't been portrayed really at all. We haven't seen her, but they keep on talking about her. I don't think we're going to see her now. Yeah, so that's interesting why they didn't. Maybe they couldn't find someone.
So, episode 3 is all about the Egyptian guy who met Edward VI, the former king.
Dodi Fayed's father, and how poor Dodi came into the mix.
So his story is really great.
It's really great because it shows all these things that he was doing were to be his ruin.
Yeah, but you got to admire that determination. He had one goal, and then everything he did was to get towards this goal, and even though it took his whole life.
Sometimes you have to
buy his way into British high society.
You have to look at your goals
and meet the royal family.
Well, he had no idea.
He didn't get to meet the Queen, though. He still got snubbed.
I don't know if he ever met her after that. Who knows? We don't really know because this is fiction. We don't really know if he did meet her or not. This is all fiction. You have to remember this.
Maybe.
But what's not fiction was that his son and Diana were killed.
Yes.
And that was the worst thing ever for him.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So this is setting that up because this is in the 90s. And then the last episode 4, that was the horrible year that she had.
Yes.
The queen that she had. Even though she had this horrible year where everyone was getting divorced.
Yeah.
And her sister Margaret is still mad at her for something that happened 40 years ago. And she has this... And the castle went on fire. I still don't have any sympathy for these people. I'm like...
Well...
They're super rich, and yes, they have to...
What they're portraying in these couple episodes are the fact that she's not recognizing that things have changed in the world.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to cope with the fact that, yes, people get divorced these days.
Yep.
This is what happens. They don't stay in marriages and make it work.
Because her mother still thinks it's 1892 instead of 1992.
Well, if we believe
and they're still trying to act as if it is back in the past.
But her mother, before, her mother was quite active in causing some of these problems. Mm-hmm. If that's true or not, I don't know. But meddling has been a big factor in all of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's always the thing. It's always your parents and there's always conflicts within the generations. Your generation's never the same as your parents or your children.
They were really out of touch in the 90s. They were definitely really out of touch.
Well, there was a lot of bad things happening, and she's just trying to hold it all together, I guess. That's what she has to do. That's her job. Anyway, it's just interesting, and...
Are you enjoying this season, though, or are you tapping out?
Oh, I'm enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it as much. It's because of that.
Wish Olivia Colman would come back?
Yeah, but it's hard
great.
to... Some of the characters are, like, the man that played Charles, the last one, he was like Charles. He acted
he was really good.
And I'm just not seeing it. It's hard. It's like, I know who this person is they're playing. This seems like it's just hard. It's not because they're acting their hearts out, but it's a person's mannerism and how they are and their face and how they stand and everything. It's just, they're not portraying the characters very well. I'm not sure what all happened with that or why they cast it that way.
Maybe the previous cast was doing too good of a job.
Well, they have to change them up because they're getting older, and they haven't.
They keep jumping time periods.
They don't take people and put makeup on them or rejig their faces to make them younger or older. They cast a whole new cast every
2 years.
Yeah, every season, when going through the lives. Because now the queen is like in her 60s. So they have a new actress, whereas before she was in like her 40s, early 50s.
Yeah. I don't know if this is my favorite season so far, but I'm enjoying it. 4 episodes in, so we got 6 more to go. I'm definitely going to stick with it and watch this. Even if it's not my favorite, unless this show really goes off the rails, I'm going to keep watching it.
The first little bit there had some very controversial things about Charles. Mm-hmm. And I can see maybe that is why the Prime Minister was upset about it, John Major, because it's insinuating some really nasty things about Charles. Mm-hmm. I can see why people would be upset with it.
Yeah, so, I guess.
I don't know if who knows if it's true. I never heard something to that effect. So
you're going to keep watching?
Yep.
I'm going to keep watching. It's looking pretty good so far. Mm-hmm. I mean, overall, I give this series the best series ever.
It's very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all the things that we watched together.
Yeah.
Did you want to wrap it up there?
Yeah, let's wrap it up there. We're still watching a bunch of things. We haven't finished them, so we'll have some more reviews next week. And we're going to see the menu.
We have to cut it short because
that's
we got to wrap up the show, and I still got to edit it all.
We're seeing
I just want to mention that haven't gotten any emails, so if people send us an email, we'll read it on the show and answer it for you.
Okay. Where's the email address going to be?
With your answers. Oh, no, we did get emails.
Oh, you got emails?
Bet on Block. The unique Bet on Block
betting
system.
Emails.
Make money with concrete leftovers. What the?
That's very
Iona
coarse.
University,
You're
9
getting-
concentrations available.
You're
Focus
getting
your
very
MBA on
coarse,
special.
Sam.
Wow.
Leftover concrete.
So you can get in touch with us if you want at CanadaMovieTVHosers@gmail.com. I will put that on the screen for everyone. Also, you can reach us on Twitter at Canada Hosers, or you can reach me at St. John's Critic. You'll find me there. I updated my profile picture there. In fact, I'm going to update it again. I got a good one now. And you can also reach the show and send us a message on Twitter, #Canada Hosers.
Okay. Well, that's all for this episode. So we'll sign off now.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.